What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. Quick live stream. Well, I don't know how quick it's going to be, but we're here to talk about some news that's going on. It won't stop. The whispers are getting louder and louder in terms of Kalvin Phillips, and I just want to touch on that and see where everyone is with that as well, because there seems to be conflicted opinions that I read. It's going to be interesting to see what the subscribers are saying about Kalvin Phillips today, but I want to get into that today. Before you know the drill, people. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, smash a like on the video, and let's get into this. Let's see what people are saying. Shout out to you, Lee Smith. Evening, nice to see you. Blinky Fish in the house. Alison and Marty Adams here. When equality, no less than 60 for KP. Yeah, we'll get into all of that. Amelia in the house again. Hello, KG. Nice to see you back again. Nice to see you. Jack Wilson. Hey. Hello to everyone. Yeah. So it's a mad one. It's a mad one in terms of Kalvin and just the difference of opinions that are going around. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me see. Oh, shout out to from America and shout out to a lot of the US contingent is growing on this channel as well. I love to see it as well. Love to see the American viewership growing on here. AG Scalara. Shout out to you, Darren Wong, who's out in Japan. Nice. But yeah, I mean, listen, let's just get straight into it in terms of Kalvin Phillips, because we can't hide from it anymore. Loads of reputable sources are telling us that Man City are ready to bid. There's even Betfair today that have come in and said that they're not taking any more bets now, betting suspended on Kalvin Phillips joining Man City. So with that in mind, I mean, where does everyone stand on it? Obviously, I'll give you my thoughts on where I am with it and where I have been probably since January in terms of Kalvin Phillips. Yeah, I mean, Ted, KP beating continuing 4-0 Hungary route. Well, listen, one game doesn't make a player, thankfully for us. But that's another thing as well, what I want to talk about in terms of value and how people perceive him. And shout out to everyone around the place, man. Greece, yeah, it's all over the place. We're all over the world, man. Love to see it. I mean, the valuations as well, 70 million, 55 million. And it's interesting because that's the fee that's reported. It's reported that it's going to be 45 million to 50. Now, I would say that that's going to be the starting price. I think that's going to be the starting thing rather than the full thing. I think it's going to be add-ons in that. I think Man City will put in add-ons probably to take it up to 55, I would say. That's just my estimate at this point after hearing 45 to 50. Now, would I sell? I personally wouldn't in a perfect world, but I look at things from a football perspective, which is what a lot of people don't want to hear, which is why this channel is as big as it should be. But I look at things from a player's perspective, club's perspective, and everything else like that. You just have to be realistic with it, though, people. And we haven't progressed enough to keep a player like Kalvin Phillips at this moment in time. We should have done more last summer in order to make steps to keep players like Rafinha and Kalvin Phillips. We should have done, but we didn't. So we are too far behind in order for Kalvin Phillips to look at us at his age now and say, I would love to stay at Leeds. Listen, if anyone was going to say stay, it would be Kalvin Phillips. He's a Leeds United fan. But your professional life is completely different from your personal one. We've seen that over the years. You know, James Milner's followed us from a distance his whole career, but he was never going to come back to Leeds in our state. So it's about the player now. It's about the respective clubs and where they are and where you see them fitting in. So Kalvin, for me, it's interesting with the price. I mean, Lee here saying anything less than 7 million is bad business from Leeds. See, 2 years ago, Lee, I would have said that too. I would have been right with you. I would have. 70 million from the trajectory. I think about it, and as I say, I think about it from a football perspective. 2 years ago, the trajectory Kalvin Phillips was on and Leeds United run was going up. It was going nowhere but up. His game was improving week in, week out. You can still see how important he is to us. And that's one thing I want to make sure that I make clear here. He's still very important to us when he's on the pitch. I'm not going to downplay his importance when he's on the pitch. But his growth in his game has stunted over the past couple of games. Meaning, when you look at players like Jude Bellingham, when you look at Declan Rice, look at those kind of players that have come on in the last couple of years. They've kind of gone past him in the way that I thought he would develop. Because me, I was thinking the same thing that Lee's saying here. 70 million is going to be the price we're going to see Kalvin Phillips go. But his development has stunted. And not only that, there is the injuries thing as well. There's the injuries thing, and you've got to put that into account. He does miss a lot of time. He does miss a lot of time. But he's one of those for us that when he's been out the team, we've missed him very, very badly. But then this is where we go to recruitment and say, this is where you need to get more bodies in, and we'll get into that. Roscoe is saying he's been injured a lot this year too. Yeah, he's been injured a lot, not just this year, but in previous years too. He always has a little period out where he's out for the team. And that's where you look at it and say, for Kalvin, he's probably looking at it and saying, well, I'm not going to go to Man City and outplay Rodri. I'm not going to start more games than Rodri. But now I can rotate. I can probably play those games against the lesser teams. I'll probably play the lower end Champions League games, but then I'll be rested. I won't be relied upon like I am at Leeds United. The weight won't be on my shoulders to play like I do for Leeds United as I will for Man City. So it's going to work for him in that sense too, in terms of just keeping him fresh, keeping him fit. There's things like that to consider. Stone here saying KP was better than Rice 2 summers ago. Now that thought seems laughable. Absolutely, I was there too, and he absolutely was better. He was much better than Declan Rice a couple of years ago, but he's not anymore. He just isn't. He doesn't have the range to his game that a Declan Rice has, and continues to grow in his arsenal. And Declan Rice is a good example as well, because I see people comparing the two. You know, if Declan Rice doesn't have to leave West Ham, why does Kalvin have to leave Leeds? It's two completely separate things, and it's because of the way that the two clubs have gone. Declan Rice is content with staying at West Ham, and he's not a West Ham fan, by the way. That's another thing. But he's content to stay at West Ham because West Ham have made the necessary additions to have good league campaigns and go far in Europe as they did last season. They're in Europe again this year. So it's completely two separate matters. What we've done is not done anything. And we've let Kalvin Phillips and Raphinha be the two main players of the team and not built anything around them. That's why I'm saying, like, for me, am I disappointed that Kalvin Phillips will be leaving? Yes, I would have loved for him to stay and built around him and Raphinha, but we haven't done enough to do that. And the proof's in the pudding as well, people. Contracts have been spoken about all year long with both players, and we haven't had a whisper back about him signing. In fact, Kalvin Phillips has changed his agent, and I think that kind of tells you something too. If we was in a position right now, I'll tell you what I'd be disappointed in if we sold Kalvin at this point in time, is if we were flirting with those European spots and we were literally like 3 players away from really challenging the 6th to 8th places, then I'd be like, damn, all we have to do is keep Kalvin and add a few. But we're not in that spot, people. We're far away from that. And then you look at Kalvin's career, England and everything. For us as Leeds United as well, look at it from our point of view, his stock won't be higher. I think his stock was probably the highest last year, but we was never going to sell him last summer. But it's never going to be higher than it is right now for us. Let's have a look. Let me just go through some of your comments as well while I'm talking, because I do want your opinions too. Scooby made a couple of points that I've starred. 101 wingers at a club that doesn't play wingers, so sell our best player in a position where we only have one player. How does that make any sense? And he followed it up with, for me, it honestly feels like people are happy for him to go. I just can't understand that. I mean, Scooby, like I say, happy to go. I would put that loosely. I'm not happy for him to go, but I understand it. And I understood it back in January as well. Go back on my videos. I said it won't surprise me if both Raphinha and Kalvin leave. But that thing you mentioned now, so sell our best player in a position where we only have one player, that's not his fault. That's the club's fault. And as we're seeing right now and hearing the links, they're rectifying that, aren't they? They're trying to get more players in. They're getting more players in. The rumored to get in a couple more midfielders, regardless of what happens with Kalvin Phillips. So they're looking to rectify that. But unfortunately, they made their moves too late for those 2 players, I think. So that's what I would say on that. I don't think it's that. I don't know if anyone is happy for him to go. If they are, fair enough. We all have our preferences, but I know how important he is when he plays. But as well, that position isn't one where he's irreplaceable. You know, it's not like we are losing a player that can't be replaced. He can be replaced. It was unthinkable under Bielsa when he was just, making that position his own and being one of the best in the country. But things have changed now. Things have changed a couple of years on down the line. His health, his age, his ambitions as well. So you have to look at it from a lot of angles and not just this Leeds United thing. He's a Leeds United fan. He's going to stay here forever. Football don't work like that. And I've said before, and for me, he's gone along the Jack Grealish route of he's done everything he can for Villa. Grealish probably wished Villa could have done more investment while he was there. But then Man City come calling. It's hard to say no to Pep. It's hard to say no to Pep. That's what I would say. It's hard to say no to Pep, and it's hard to say no to that Manchester City squad, and just what you're looking to win. He's gone on England duty this in this period. Horrible England duty, by the way. But and he's probably spoken to Grealish as well. And Grealish is there with his Premier League medal after Grealish didn't really do that much. I still rate Grealish highly, but in the grand scheme of things, he didn't do that much. But he's sitting there with a Prem medal. Things like this get talked about in the camp. Let's have a look. Mikey, I'm just going to go through some of your comments as well. Mikey saying Kalvin was pretty average before Bielsa, and I believe he will go that way again without him. Get him sold before anyone realizes. There's a couple of things on that. Mikey makes a really good comment there. The Bielsa thing is definitely a factor. He made him 100% a better player, indispensable. He was going. Like someone said earlier, 70 million, 80 million, it wouldn't have been out the realms of possibility in that era. I don't think he's going to be average just purely because I think Pep's going to do his work on him. And I think Pep, probably would have spoken to Bielsa about his characteristics and how he can mold him and etc. Like things like that. But what we're seeing right now, and I've seen it all over the Twitter sphere and various sites about how Kalvin Phillips isn't all that. What happens is you get the big rise to the top. You're England's player of the year. Now you're there. People want to just tear you down. Thankfully for us, we're dealing with Manchester City and Pep, who doesn't give us stuff what anyone on the outside thinks. So if he wants Kalvin Phillips, and he knows his attributes, what he likes in him, he's going to get him. And I said before, he'd be a perfect replacement for Fernandinho, and that's exactly what he's going to be. It's perfect for Kalvin. It's perfect for Leeds, especially if we get the money that I hope we're going to get with the add-ons to go with it too. What we have to do then is make sure we reinvest properly, and whether that's in 3 or 4 positions, maybe 3 positions with that kind of money, or if we're getting the next level midfielder to go in with what we're currently getting and what we're rumored to get in with Marc Roca. That's it. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I know people don't like hearing this kind of thing where I'm giving it from all angles of Kalvin and Man City and the club, but it's the way it is. I can't just come on here and look you all down the screen and say, yeah, we should keep Kalvin no matter what, unless we get 100 million. That's just nonsensical at this point, because he's not worth 100 million. He's not even worth close to 100 million anymore, unfortunately. So we've got to strike while the iron's hot. Let's have a look. Super chat from Who Knows. Shout out to you, Who Knows. Just want the 60 million from City now reinvested. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just said that. Who knows? But thank you for the super chat as always. Big supporter of the channel. But yeah, absolutely, it has to be reinvested in the squad. There's no ifs or buts about that. It has to be reinvested, and whether that's in central midfield too, or at left back or up front, just as long as it's put back into the team, as long as we're doing the right thing, that's all I care about too. Scooby's come back again. I hear you, but only sell our best. Come on. Kalvin just needs a rest, rotation, learn the system, maybe even push him up. Scooby, you say sell our best. But Scooby, all the players that people love to put on a pedestal here. Have you heard any whispers about any other clubs coming in for him? Have you heard any whispers of people coming in for Helder Costa? Not that people put him up, but have you heard anyone put up any rumors for Matthias Klick, Liam Cooper, any of these guys? Have you heard any whispers or anything like that? It's harder to shift those kind of players because they're not Premier League players. Adam Forshaw, have you heard of any team coming in like sniffing around him for his attributes. You haven't. It's harder to do that, and you're not going to get as much as you are for assets like Kalvin Phillips and Rafinha. And unfortunately for us, where we are, we're a team that we can have good players, but if we're not moving onto that next level, like West Ham are doing, we are going to have to sell. It's the harsh reality of Premier League football and the ladder in the Premier League. It's just the reality of it. So although it's not fair or it doesn't make much sense, it's the way that the business runs. Um, let's have a look. Our chat's moving a little mad. Let's have a look. Nathan Palmer, Cage, you push out more content, brother. I come on when I got something to say, man. I come on when I got something to say. If anything catches my eye, I'll come on. But I appreciate that. Barry saying nearly being relegated has softened the blow of Kalvin leaving. I'm excited to see who we bring in as his replacement. Still can't believe we're in the Prem. Oh man. Let's have a look. Darren Maddox. It's all right winning medals in a team with loads of money and the best players, but to win something with your home team and best mates, there's no better feeling. Let him go bye. Darren, I absolutely agree. I 100% agree. And again, I'll go back to Grealish as well. Grealish would have loved to have won a cup with Villa, and he was close. They got to the Carabao Cup final, but they couldn't get it done. Kalvin, I'm sure, would love to win something with Leeds United. I'm sure he would. But it's not going to happen in our current state. It's just not. And if we had started building from when we should have, which was last summer, maybe we could have done something. Maybe we could have gone on a cup run. I still hope we go on a cup run, people. I want the cup run. I want to see Leeds go on a cup run. But I hear you. Of course, it would mean something more to win with your hometown club. But at the end of the day, when he's retired and he's looking at his Premier League medal and he's thinking about the ball he put through to Erling Haaland, I think he'll be okay. Let's have a look. Just going through some more of your comments. Steve H saying, "Hey KG, what's up? What's your thoughts on the following? Xhaka from Lille, Wallace from Udinese, Santi Comisano from Real Vallecano, and Nicolas Dominguez from Bologna as replacements for KP. Xhaka, no, not for me. Wallace with one L, just saying, from Udinese, I like him, but obviously the main one would be Nicolas Dominguez. But again, how much would he cost from Bologna? He would cost a bomb. And I haven't heard of Santi Comisana, so I can't comment on him. But Nicolas Dominguez, I think he's probably more in the profile of what we're looking for in terms of age. He's like 23. So I could definitely see him being more someone we're getting, but I think Bologna will probably ask him for a fair penny. Max H is saying it's going to be a whole new era at Leeds. Excited or scared to death? I'm excited, man. I know it's silly, but I just think that, especially if Kalvin and Raf are sold, the board know they can't just give us this squad and a couple of players. I think they know that they have to reinvest. They have to reinvest well. And I think they've done it so far, 2 for 2, possibly 3 for 3. I'm not going to speak too much on Marc Roca today. I'll speak on him in a separate video when it's all official. But I think we're going in the right direction, and that's all you can ask for. Somebody said this to me in a group chat yesterday, in that they like what Leeds are doing after what we did last season. And I said, the only thing that the board could have done is make up for the mistakes that they made last year and that gamble they took that almost didn't pay off. So, we can't dig them out for trying to make up for it now. So as long as they keep on doing what they're doing, I'm happy with it, because we're starting to see players now that are on the next level. Just quickly on Marc Roca, when you compare him to what we've got currently in our midfield, besides Kalvin, he goes straight in again. He's another one that will probably go straight into the first 11. But what I'm hoping is that he's not the only one. I think they're going to sign another couple of central midfielders to compete, and I think we need that. But I like what we're doing right now. Tom Gatlin, Sander Berger for 25 million. That would be my one of my replacements. I mentioned Douglas Luiz, but Sander Berger for me is ready. I mean, I saw him again the other night for Norway. Someone's got to snap him out of that championship team. Got to take him out of there, and it should be us. We're getting 60 million for Kalvin. I don't know how much Sheffield United want. 25, 30. Slap the money down and go get him. Get him as one of our midfielders, but don't let it stop there. Get another one in addition. And I think everyone would be happy. And Paul Gray just adding on with Berg. I like Berg. Must admit, you can play in different positions in midfield. Good technician in there too. Good technician, plays in the 6, 8, 10, threat from set pieces, and he's very, very difficult to get off the ball. He's just, yeah, he's just one of those that I think he'd be perfect for us, perfect for Leeds United. But we'll see. We'll see. Sam S. Berger is better than Kalvin going forward. To be honest, this is what I'm saying. And again, I need to repeat just in case people start saying that I think Kalvin's rubbish. I'm not saying that, but in his attributes, that's why he is replaceable for us. Where he's another piece of a jigsaw for Man City in their quest to dominate, and he fills in a gap when Rodri's not playing, and that's cool in that team and setup where they have the ball for 90% of the time. For us, we can get more from the money that we're going to get from Man City. And yes, Sam S, you're out on the money. Berger is much better than Kalvin going forward. But there's a lot of players that are. That's why it's very important that we get multiple midfielders this summer. And it looks like we're on the way to doing that. So fingers crossed. D saying Berger has a horrible injury record, which would put me off. He had one bad injury, D. What I'll say is he had one bad injury when he was in the Prem. And that is why he spent a whole year in the Championship one, because no one wanted to touch him while he was getting back to form. But he's back to form, D. He's back and he's ready to. He's ready. Like he's fit. He's fully fit, 100%. He's ready to go. That's all I'll say on that. But I hear what you're saying in terms of that injury. It was a bad one, but he's back. Ed messing about in the comments. You'll end up with Tom Cleverley. Listen, let's not do this. Morex, I trust Marsh to get the right players in. I don't care who leaves as long as the price is right. Yeah. And Marsh, again, I don't want to speak too much about Marc Roca yet because he's not done, but Jesse Marsh identified Marc Roca, and he wants to come. So Jesse Marsh, he's got a bit of pull, no matter what people want to say about him. He's obviously got a bit of pull when you consider, who else Marc Roca could have gone to. So yeah, I'm trusting Marsh to do it as well. I like the makeup of what he's making this team become. I do. I like it. It's aggressive, but quality on the ball. And that's the most important thing for me. The quality on the ball. It's essential. So let's have a look. Let's go through some more comments. Obviously, this is about what you think, people, not me. Not me. I can only give you just my opinion on it, but of course I want to hear what you guys have got to say. Ben, instead of Man City getting Phillips, they should get Forshaw. He's also cheaper than Phillips. Yeah. So I'm saying, listen, as soon as we see rumors, because people always ask me about outgoings and who should go. I could give you a list easy, but the thing is, no one's being linked with our rubbish. And that's what they are, unfortunately. No one's being linked with them at all. Not one team I've seen being linked with our bad players. Steve Cage, what do you think to Nicolas? Yeah, Steve, I answered your comment earlier, and I think Nicolas Dominguez would be a beautiful replacement for in that area. It's just about the price. I think Bologna will probably ask for quite a lot of money, but if you could get him at a good price, 23 years old, absolutely, 100%. Tim Chapman, Pascal Strike will have a breakout season. I agree. I'm with Pascal all the way. C Stone, imagine Forshaw dribbling in little circles going nowhere in that Man City lineup. Yeah, Pep would lose his mind. Pep would absolutely lose his ish. It would be a mazza. Let's have a look. Yeah, I noted down as well in terms of. Sorry, just before we continue, Jack Wilson, League One and Championship sides don't want Leave Davis. Yeah, apparently so. But yet some people think that he should be the other option for Junior Firpo. It's crazy sometimes. Hey, listen, we've all got opinions. I get it, but now Leaf Davis was never it for me either. Never. But yeah, Man City as well. You know what would be nice as well for Man City, and I did think of this in terms of in terms of the Phillips deal is if we could get a player of theirs on loan, um, like a Cole Palmer, but then you realize that Man City don't really loan out their better youngsters, and there's good reason for that. They just don't have to. When if they're not getting game time at Man City, what they're doing is they're learning from Pep first of all, but then they're also learning from the best of the best. So unlike when people were saying here Lewis Bates should buy his time and he's learning from and he'll get his game time soon. He wasn't learning from anyone of quality. He's got Forshaw and Click to look at. Whereas Cole Palmer, he's looking at Bernardo Silva, he's looking at KDB. Much as people want to rag on him, he's looking at Grealish, he's looking at all them, Phil Foden. They're learning from the best. So I don't even think a loan option would be viable from Man City in terms of one of their better players. Uh Aaron, look at these rumors. Gundogan as part of the Phillips is what I heard. Who told you that? Who told you that? Name your source. Now, Gundogan, listen, that would be amazing, but nah, he's not coming to Leeds United. Morex. If wages weren't so high, there would be plenty of conference clubs in for Cooper and Ailing. You guys are wicked, man. You guys are wicked. Robert T would love to see money invested in Berger and Gibbs White to improve the pivot and further forward. Yeah, those were two on my list. They were two on my list in terms of players to bring in. Apparently, we were rumored in for Gibbs White. I haven't heard nothing about that since I first read the rumor. It's silly season, isn't it? Links with everybody, um, but yeah, I would absolutely love to take both of those. And Gibbs White, you could imagine Jesse Marsh loving him as well. I think he would be another one that would be good. I thought we'd probably get him on loan, but it looks like he's not going to sign a new deal with Wolves, so it would be a permanent deal. But I think again that would be a risk worth taking. Let's have a look. Okay, just hold on a minute. The chat's moving a little. Let me just put the chat in Mateus click mode, man. I got to slow it down. Hold on a minute. There we go. Nicely done. Nicely done. North Allerton White, no to Danny Ings. Oh, well, apparently he's available, isn't he? But again, Danny Ings, he's another one, isn't he? That he's got dodgy knees. I wouldn't trust him, much like Callum Wilson. I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust him. So I would say no. I would say no to Danny Ings. But if we got him, you can't really, turn your nose up at that. But again, if someone asked me about strikers and do we need it? Of course we do. We cannot go into the season with just Patrick Bamford. But Danny Ings, that's another risk, isn't it? Very, very weak knees. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's just see who we get linked to, because I think they're trying to sort the midfield out first, and then we'll see. And then we'll see where we go from there. Kalvin Phillips, or just going back onto Kalvin, you could see that he was priming himself for a big move in terms of the way things were moving in on his social media. His social media was starting to get very generic. If you look at his posts, just look at his posts on Twitter and on IG. It's done by his. I think it's done by his PR people. In all honesty, I cannot see Kalvin doing all of that. But it's what people do in terms of making themselves more professional, cleaning up their social media, not doing so many jokes or just general chit chat. It's done, good 3 points today. We go again, and all this stuff. It's just general nonsense. But that's how that things started to go in that direction when he first got called up for England, and it all just moves to go into that Manchester City club for me. Everything when you put it all in the pot where we are, Man City, the money, it all just moves into Kalvin going. And I've always said as well, I don't get attached to players. I haven't done since the big rid sales, fire sales. But it will be disappointing to see him go, but we'll move on from it. I think we'll move on from him, and it's up to the board to make sure that they do that. Um, Tapping toes. Goodbye, Calvin. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. You know what? I can't really bag on toes because Spurs have been linked with Rafinha, and quite frankly, they're the only ones at the moment that I could see in the Prem that he would actually go to. I mean, Steve H here, I'd be gutted if Rafinha went to Liverpool. I mean, I'm seeing the chat that some of these clubs are talking like they can just get Rafinha like that. It's crazy to me. It's crazy, but it's content, isn't it? It's funny. It's interesting to watch. For me, I watch it with a smile, like, wow, you guys have no idea. But yeah, it's all mad. But yeah, Spurs, Conte, Champions League. I could definitely see Rafinha liking that kind of option. Tom Gatlin, how can you not get attached to Batty? No, Tom, that's the era I'm talking about. I'm talking about that era where, the 99 2000 kind of team and the next couple of years where they were just being sold and ripped apart. I love David Batty. David Batty was tremendous for us, not just a destroyer, he was a good passer of the ball too. So, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But since then, I don't get attached to players. They come and they go. I think the only one that will probably do that next for and have a little deaf feeling is when I'm seeing Rafinha holding up another shirt, and hopefully it's one of PSG or someone like that. I don't want to see him hold up anyone in England. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Ben, thoughts on Tyler Adams? I've only seen him a few times, in all honesty, Ben. But the times I did see him, he was a very simple player, and what I mean by that is he broke up play, tried to break up play, and then he would play a very simple ball. That's it. That's all I've seen of him. So I cannot give you if he does any more than that because that's all I've seen of him when he's played. But I think if we're looking at Marc Roca does a bit more than that, but he's similar in that vein. But Marc Roca can progress the ball a bit better than Tyler Adams. But again, Tyler Adams, it's another link, isn't it? It's an easy link to make because of the whole Red Bull thing. But we just have to wait and see. We just have to wait and see. Scooby's going through it, man. I hear you, Scooby. I love Batty. I love Calvin. It's just too much. I hear what you're saying. But football, it's a business at the end of the day, people. It's a business. As much as we love it as passionate people and we look forward to the games and, it can affect our mood for the weekend and affect the stick we get or the stick we give to our friends. It's a business at the end of the day. If it wasn't, it would be much easier to keep Kalvin Phillips. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that. But I hear what you're saying, Scooby. Scott Adamson, Rocco Berger. Then we need a left back, striker, and experienced goalkeeper. Yeah, and we need another midfielder too, Scott. For me, we need another two. I don't want to go into this season weak at midfield, and that's when as well you look at those, you know, those players that need moving out. People talk about exits. Once you get in a Berg, let's say we do get Berger in, Rucker in, and another midfield. That's when you start shopping around, like we do with a couple of our youngsters. That's when you start shopping around an Adam Forshaw or Mateus Click. More so Mateus Click for me because I think you could probably still get 4 or 5 million from him. As silly as that sounds, I think we can still get that from a Dutch club or a German club. I do. So we'll see what we can do there. But let's get our incomings first, unless it finances say we need to sell before we can get any more in. Yeah, more back on Ings. Morex is just saying Ings is too old. He doesn't fit the Marsh profile. That's what I mean. We seem to be going into that sweet spot of 20. Like say 20 to I would say 27. I think even 27 is probably pushing it, isn't it? But yeah, I kind of agree with that. Until we see otherwise, obviously with any future signings, it looks like we're going in that sweet spot of like 22 to 27 at this point. Uh, t- yeah, all well, all good, Ken. Just going to go into some more of your comments. Let's have a look. Jay's just saying Danny Ings gets injured a lot, so a born Leeds player. Yeah. uh, Imagine this, Chris. Yeah. Don't even want to think about it. Don't even want to think about it. Mark saying, yo, KG, we have been spending like crazy and linked with loads of players. It's inevitable we have to sell Calvin and Raf because of FFP. No, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of FFP, so I won't pretend. But our accounts are in good condition. Our accounts are in good health, going from the last ones that were declared. So, and that was during the pandemic. So, I don't think it's that, but we do need to sell some players and get some money back on some of them, and especially ones that haven't worked out. I would be even interested to see, people want to talk about. I would love to see what we might do with Dan James. Does Dan James fit into what Jesse Marsh wants? I'm not sure, but can we sell a player that we've literally just bought a year ago for 25 million already? I don't know. I don't know if we're in a position to do that. I'm afraid, but it would be interesting if it was a couple of years down the line. If what we would do with Dan James, I don't see where Dan James fits in under Jesse Marsh. I just don't. Shout out to One Rovers Vlogs, Bristol Rovers. Shout out to you guys, man. That was a weird way you got promoted. I'll say it. You guys got promoted in one kabuki way. Oh Lord, who is it that suffered? Was it Northampton? Oh, they were so mad. As soon as I saw your result, by the way, one Rovers. I looked straight at Northampton's post-match reactions, and you could tell manager was absolutely. He was who is it you played just quickly, because they put out one team that was disgraceful. They just saying. Aaron Rowley, do you see Rodrigo staying? Again, hopefully he's one that we're looking to get rid of. We do. We need to move players like him on, and I think you could. Again, I think there's some value in Rodrigo going back to Spain. I don't think he's in the Spain setup right now. So I think he should be going back to Spain, get a decent fee for him. We're certainly not going to recoup the 30 million for him. Let's get him out. Let's get him out and go again, because again, he's not a Marsh player either. So yeah, Scunthorpe, that was it. Yeah, Scunthorpe. They absolutely did. That was disgraceful. You can't do that. But what can you do? It's their squad, isn't it? And I'm sure you're not complaining. So yeah, enjoy League One, man. What a way to go up. What a way to go up. Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine that if as an opposition, for a fellow promotion rival, and you see that team being put out and they get whooped 7-0. Yee. Lord have mercy. Kyle asking thoughts on Furpo. I hate him. Listen, Kyle, hate. I always say this as well, people. Hate is a very strong word to just throw around like that. I'm not sure that you do hate him. I just think that you wish he was better than what you saw. Am I getting that right? What I will say is Furpo is going to be here next season. I don't see him being sold. So we're talking about potential sales. I think Furpo will be here. What we just have to hope for, and with everything that we've got, is that he's settled now. His kid's here. He's married. Everything else like that's out the way. He had his thing with injuries and COVID. Let's just hope that we get a second season where he's serviceable. But for me, I still want another left back in there. I don't want just him being our main left back. We need another one in there. So it's important that they get us another left back in the club, an out and out left back to play. That's very important. But hopefully he's going to be better than last season. For me, he can't be any worse. I'll just say that. Going forward, he was okay, except for his wild shots. But defensively, there's a lot to be desired. But hopefully that'll be worked on over pre-season. Oh, another would you rather. Let's go. Tom Gatlin, KG, you can only get rid of one player this window. Who is it? Costa, Roberts, or Casilla? Oh, man. This is so conflicting for me. Wow. You know what? Just because I think he'd get played out of the three, I would say Roberts. I'd say Roberts out of the three, just because I think he's got more chance of seeing the pitch, and I don't want to see him on the pitch. So, yeah, out of those three, I'd say Roberts. Let's have a look. Yeah, let me just see what's going on. Yeah, and in terms of strikers as well, just before we leave, the the strikers, Joe Gilhart's been nominated for the 2022 Golden Boy Award. So shout out to Joe Gilhart for that. I think he could have probably done, he would have done a lot better if he got more game time over both managers. But shout out to him. That's a brilliant achievement to be recognized in that kind of class. So fair play to him. Hopefully we see more of him next season, along with our other new forwards. But yeah, just shout out to Joe Gilhart for that. Let's have a look now. Tim just giving Firpo a bit of grace here. Firpo will have a much better season this year as he hasn't played for 2 years. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Gavin James, the problem is the players were so comfortable last season, even if they wasn't playing well, they knew they would still be starting. Yeah, Gavin, that's something that I've discussed on here many times. You have to have competition for places. You can't just have one player in their position, especially when they're not even that good as well, to go with it. That's just taking the mick. So yeah, absolutely, competition for places is vital. Absolutely vital. But Sam S isn't convinced. He says if we have Firpo at left back, we're going to be poor defensively, so near the bottom. Fair play. All we have to do is just see what he comes up with in the second season. If it doesn't work in the second season, much like Rodrigo, we have to say, please get this guy out. But we've got no choice. I think we're going to have to pursue with him. But hopefully, we do get in another left back that probably starts ahead of him too. Let's see what we can do. But yeah, that's it. That's it on it. That's it for people. That's all I got in terms of Kalvin Phillips. It's been good hearing everyone's opinions in the chat. You know what? Just before we go, for people that's in the chat now, because there's over 350 of you in here, shout out to all of you, and please hit the like on the video. Please do that for your boy. But what is the price that you think Kalvin Phillips should be sold for to Man City as of now, as we're talking right now? Let me know. Give me your prices. I'm interested to hear, because it's been wide ranging. It's been, some are happy with the 45 to 50, others think 70 or 80. It's all mad. Gavin, KG, love the hard work on the stream. Keep up smash light. Thank you for that, Gavin. Tony saying 40 million. Wow. Northallerton White 65. Chilled Scotty 60 million. I mean, someone said 47.5. That's very precise. I love that. Max H 50 to 60. Steve, I take 50 million all day long. Who knows? 60 million. Mark Army 60 to 68. Danny, between 35 and 50. Wow. Scooby's not having it though. Scooby says he's not selling him at all. I like that, Scooby. Just sticking to those guns. I love it. John H, 60 million, 40 to 60 million plus a player Zinchenko. Again, Zinchenko, that would be perfect, wouldn't it? But again, because of where we finish in the league, because we're not in any kind of Europe or even talked about for Europe, we're not getting players like Zinchenko. Brian C, 40 to 50 million is realistic. Great player, terrible injury record. Unfortunately, yeah, that goes against you when you're being bought. Ray, shout out to you, man. Just asking if there's any news on players leaving yet. I personally would like to see the back of Kiko. I would too, but again, Ray, I said it earlier in the stream. There's just been no links to any of our fringe players going. There's no movement of them. There's no sign of them even moving, which is the worst thing for me, because I want to see a few of them gone. I don't want to see them as options for this team anymore. But unfortunately, no, haven't heard any whispers on any of the players that I would like to see leave go. Just the main ones, unfortunately. Jody Sellers with a perfect one, 55 million with Cole Palmer season loan, please. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. But yeah, listen, people, that's going to be it for the Kalvin Phillips chat. Please put your thoughts as well in the comments on the video. I love to read them on the comments and things like that. And yeah, I don't know when the next one will be. Maybe it will be the Marc Roca signing video, which I'm looking forward to Leeds United completing. That's another good one for me. That's 3 for 3. They haven't gone wrong so far with the signings this summer. So but I'll speak more about that on that next video. But listen, people, thank you for the interaction tonight. It's been brilliant as well, by the way. The chat's been very, very lively. And yeah, like I say, put your comments in there about Kalvin Phillips in the comment section below and smash a like on the video. Peace out, people. Have a good evening.